Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News at 6. We're on it.
The Colorado Education Association says it has an alarming new survey about the number of teachers that are considering quitting after this school year, what they say needs to change in order to make sure that teachers stick around.
A wrong-way crash right in front of City Hall, and the suspected DUI driver hit two Thornton police SUVs.
But first, we start with a time-saver traffic alert out in Lone Tree after this truck hit an overpass bridge heading northbound around the Sky Ridge Medical Center exit. Crews spent hours yesterday afternoon making those emergency repairs. You're looking at Skyfox video hovering over that scene yesterday. We know lanes started to reopen just before 5 yesterday evening for that drive home. CDOT tells us the bridge is now safe to travel under, but crews will still be working under the bridge. CDOT warning of 2-lane closures in the area this morning that may impact your drive. They are telling everyone to expect delays. Yeah, quite a mess they had to clean up there and make sure it's structurally sound.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I covered a story like this about 15, 20 years ago in Michigan where a truck hit a bridge. It wasn't structurally sound. They had to tear the whole bridge down just to get the highway opened back up. Yeah, so I guess it could have been worse, and it may be a minor inconvenience for you this morning. Good to have you, by the way. Happy Friday. I'm Kirk Yonke.
I'm Megan O'Halloran. Yeah, we got that Friday feeling here. Let's get to Brooks. He's watching our weather, and it may impact some of your plans, huh? All right, Brooks, thank you for the rundown there. Developing right now, police say an impaired driver going the wrong way crashed into two Thornton police vehicles last night. Here's a map to show you where it all happened. Just before 10 p.m. near Thornton Parkway and Civic Center Drive. This was right in front of City Hall. Thornton police say the DUI driver of the SUV was going westbound in the eastbound lanes of Thornton Parkway. That driver crashed into two Thornton police SUVs. The driver of the SUV taken to a local hospital with unknown injuries. The Thornton officers did suffer minor injuries themselves. Thornton Parkway was shut down in the area. It has since reopened.
Police investigating a shooting last night near South Quintero Street and Yale Avenue in Aurora. We know a juvenile boy was taken to the hospital. The initial investigation revealed the shooting possibly happened in the area off East 8th Avenue in Quebec in Denver. After being shot, the victim was driven to the Quintero address in Aurora, where 911 was called. Denver police are now handling this investigation. Now, the Colorado Education Association says 40% of its teachers surveyed are considering leaving the profession after the school year. So this means if you've got 5 teachers in a room, 2 of them are going to leave.
Impacts a lot of people here. The statewide union represents close to 40,000 teachers across Colorado. And they say there are 3 major reasons why teachers are ready to call it quits. Fox 31's Emily Allen joining us live from Denver, where, according to this data, it seems like the pandemic has really taken its toll.
You know, that is certainly a factor in all of this. I think the union feels like it's just exacerbated existing issues. And the Colorado Education Association worries that there could be a looming.
Supposed to work.
Right. Well, Colorado has crossed a pretty big milestone. The state has now administered more than 1 million COVID-19 vaccines in just about 2 months. About 750,000 people here have received 1 shot, while more than 330,000 have received both. The state says that it is set to meet its goal of vaccinating 70% of those who are 70 and older by the end of the month. Then it will move on to essential workers.
1B3 is large. We're talking 1.15 million. It's a very large group with when we're talking essential workers. So we do not have a goal set out there yet.
The state says that more vaccines that it gets from the federal government, the faster, of course, it'll be able to vaccinate essential workers and then move on to other groups.
President Biden knows firsthand about the Pfizer vaccine. He's gotten both doses. Today, he will see firsthand where it's made, this plant in Michigan, where the first vials rolled out late last year. And he will likely use this as a backdrop to push the massive COVID relief plan that Vice President Kamala Harris touted yesterday during a virtual town hall.
The American Rescue Plan will also provide funding to help schools safely reopen and make a big investment in childcare to help providers keep their doors open. And it will get America vaccinated. So simply put, the American Rescue Plan will help get women back to work.
Now, school closures are definitely still a flashpoint, if you will. Families in San Francisco staged a protest. The former chief of staff for Vice President Mike Pence, who had led the coronavirus task force, said in-person learning should resume. The Denver School Board, meantime, voting unanimously to reopen Montbello High School. The school will reopen in 2022, unifying the existing schools of DCIS Montbello, Knoll Community Arts School, and Collegiate Preparatory Academy as well. Those schools will become Montbello High School and a feeder middle school in the 2022-23 school year.
For the 9th consecutive year, spruce beetles remain the most damaging forest pests in the state, and beetle-killed trees more often, and then of course it fuels wildfires there.
All you have to do is drive up 285 or drive up I-70 and you'll likely see those beetle kill spots. We've seen it with recent wildfires too here in Colorado, the biggest ones in state history, fueled in many cases by that beetle kill. Fox 31's Carly Cassidy joins us with new data from the State Forest Service.
All right, Carly, thank you. 6:12 right now. Let's get to Brooks watching our weather. Yeah. And finally, after the week we've had, we are seeing a bit of a warm up, but not for long. Right. We've got another system headed our way.
From Denver, this is Fox 31 News. We're on it.
A terrifying story for any pet owner. A man fights off a mountain lion to save his dog. This happened in Estes Park last week.
It was the first of 2 mountain lion attacks on dogs in just a matter of days. And in one case, unfortunately, one dog did not survive. Sadie, a 9-year-old boxer recovering from that attack. In fact, she lost an eye and had to get more than 70 stitches. Her owner says the attack happened in a matter of seconds.
Basically, standing on the deck watching her, and just in a matter of a second, all of a sudden she's got a mountain lion wrapped around her.
That was Gene. He said that he picked up a small wooden property marker, the only weapon he could find, and started hitting the mountain lion until it ran away. Now, some advice coming from Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Keep your pets on a leash at all times and avoid walking them from dusk to dawn when mountain lions are most active. If your pet is attacked, try yelling loudly and throwing things at the mountain lion from a safe distance before getting any closer.
Man, I just couldn't even imagine having to confront that. A group of people in the Sherrillwood area of Adams County are trying to save a building. Take a look. This is the building we're talking about. Kind of looks like a spaceship, doesn't it? Here it is. It sits at 80th and Pecos. It's been around since the mid-'80s, but hasn't been in use for a few years. The building was sold by Westminster Public Schools to a developer. Sarah Garner and her husband are still hopeful the building can be saved or incorporated into a renovated community center.
We'd really like to preserve the history of this particular building. Sherrillwood is a small municipality, and we don't have a community center or a community amenity in this little area.
Now, the Adams County Board of Commissioners met March 2nd to possibly take a vote on the building's future. Sarah Garner is also talking to the city of Westminster about possible historical status for the building. I think it looks kind of cool. Turn it into a house or something like that.
There you go, yeah.
Live in there.
That is something.
Live in the future.
That is something else. Well, speaking of the future, we've got a system in the works in our
I
forecast.
live in the future. Good morning,
You do?
guys. I live
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News. We're on it.
New details about more In-N-Out restaurant locations headed to Colorado. Right now, they're working on a site along Factory Shops Boulevard down in Castle Rock. Oh, in Kirk Youngie's neighborhood.
It's in my spot. Well, and here's the deal. I mean, we told you about this, it was a month ago. I think we told you this was happening. It's in early development phases, although I can tell you because I drove by it just yesterday. They are moving dirt. There is an In-N-Out sign up in front of the fence. They also hope, though, to have that Lone Tree location in the Park Meadows area by the mall open before the end of the month. These two would join the Aurora and Colorado Springs locations to make 4 total In-N-Out burgers in our state. And they're saying that typically once they break ground, it takes about 5 to 6 months. So that Castle Rock location, probably 5 or 6 months away from opening up and selling burgers, fries, and shakes.
Nice. Good stuff there. Well, this morning, Bank of America says compared to the recovery after the financial crisis, the recovery out of the pandemic could be one of the fastest in U.S. history. It says that's due to the large stimulus packages passed and record high savings rates. In 2009, the Recovery Act relief package did not go into effect until 5 months following the Lehman bankruptcy and after 5 million job losses. 2020 did not see that 5-month lag.
Delivery costs have been rising across the country, expected to continue to go up as the pandemic drags on, according to a report by Jefferies. With competition like Amazon Prime's speedy shipping, mid-sized retailers are at risk because many don't have the capacity to keep up with increased demand for deliveries. Holiday surcharges that shipping carriers implemented are not expected to be going away anytime soon.
This Denver chef in the spotlight. He's now back in the kitchen and getting used to his newfound fame. Taking a closer look at Colorado's connection to the historic Mars landing, and we're getting brand new images from the Red Planet.
Now we've got brand new details after a truck hit an overpass bridge northbound I-25 near the Skyridge Medical Center exit there in Lone Tree. Crews spent hours yesterday afternoon making emergency repairs to that overpass. This is a video from Sky Fox flying over the scene as those people were pointing at the crack, but fixing it. Lanes started to reopen just before 5 yesterday afternoon. I know, I get it. They've got to analyze first. Right. CDOT tells us the bridge is now safe to travel under, but crews will be working under the bridge. CDOT warning of 2-lane closures in the area this morning during rush hour. They're telling everyone to expect delays. So there you go. They did have to make sure that it was going to be safe and structurally sound so they could fix it.
And that takes time sometimes. Just after 6:30, would you look at that sunrise? Happy Friday, folks. Thanks for starting your day out with us. I'm Megan O'Halloran.
I'm Kirk Yonke, TGIF. Let's get to Brooks. He's got your pinpoint weather forecast, and it really is all right, thank you, Brooks. A COVID vaccine milestone in Colorado. More than 1 million doses have been administered to Coloradans.
And as Fox 31's Lisa D'Souza explains, this weekend, 10,000 Coloradans will get their second dose at Coors Field. Lisa.
Lisa D'Souza, Fox 31.
All right. The next step in the process. Glad to see that we're there. Thank you, Lisa. 6:34 right now, and you're looking at the very first picture of NASA's Perseverance rover sent back after touching down on Mars yesterday. There was only a 50-50 success rate here, and I'm really glad to see them make it happen.
Oh, it was an incredible success. The picture is blurry, it's black and white, it's round, but it's Mars, and it's awesome. Fox 31's Drew Engelbart, he's on it this morning. I was watching this.
He'll be able to take that back to the kitchen with him, and it's all good stuff from here. 6:39, and look at that pink sunrise. That's a Friday feeling, if you ask me. Let's get over to Brooks and see what we have in store for us. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Beautiful out there. That's right. Sun rising officially in about
News. We're on it.
Right now, a water crisis getting worse in Texas, and it's showing up in more than one way. It's showing up in a lot of unique ways, actually.
Yeah, well, look at this video here. It shows that fire breaking out at a San Antonio apartment complex last night. The apartment complex has been without water since Sunday, and fire officials say on top of that, they're already dealing with frozen fire hydrants due to the frigid cold temperatures. Firefighters are using trucks to shuttle the water to the complex, and thankfully, no one was hurt in the fire. Meanwhile, 7 million people have been ordered to boil their drinking water. Houston's mayor says it could be the case well through the weekend. The situation is prompting people in Houston to fill up buckets with a hose at a local park and visit water distribution sites in Dallas. In Austin, empty aisles and long lines played out at local grocery stores. I mean, look at these pictures here. And at one point, there were close to 3 million homes without power. That number is now down to 325,000, but there's a new warning coming from Texas officials.
Not out of the woods yet. What do we mean? We're still in very cold conditions. So we're still seeing much higher than normal winter demand. And we're obviously keeping a very close eye on that.
Meanwhile, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas facing serious backlash after taking off to Cancun with his family on Wednesday. Pictures surfaced on social media showing him boarding a flight to Cancun as many Texans were battling the freezing cold weather. Ted Cruz later admitted the trip was a mistake.
Look, it was obviously a mistake, and in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. You know, I have to admit, I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Well, after being called out, he returned to Texas yesterday afternoon. Cruz said that he flew to Mexico because his daughters had asked to take a trip, and he was just trying to be a good dad.
As freezing temperatures continue, many families remain concerned about losing their heat and electricity. Kiana Dashell tells us she's without heat right now, and she's fighting to keep her kids warm. Her heat went out at the Capitol Hill Apartments. The management company tells us that the power in the area went out, impacting the boiler for the building. But whatever the cause for a lack of heat, help is available to those in need. The Low-Income Energy Assistance Program is a federally funded program that helps qualifying households by paying a portion of their heating costs. We got a link to that at KDVR.com with more information.
The Boulder City Council unanimously adopting the city's first ever racial equity plan. It focuses on eliminating systemic and institutional racism in city policies and practices. The equity program manager says the plan establishes a clear roadmap for goals and desired outcomes, all which have historically shaped and excluded populations across Boulder. The city posted the full plan on its website. It includes goals, strategies, timelines, and more. If you'd like to check it out, we've posted a link to this story. You can catch it on the Fox 31 News app or our website, KDVR.com.
Health workers in Weld County warning that 2 variants of the coronavirus have now been detected in that county, including the UK variant. This would be a mutated version of the virus that causes COVID-19, which makes it more transmittable. Not more dangerous, just more transmittable. Doctors recommend you get the vaccine if you're eligible. If not, the best way to avoid catching it, of course, all the things you've been doing. Wear your mask, socially distant, et cetera, et cetera. State of Colorado and the Weld County Health Department working collaboratively to conduct contact tracing of people identified with and exposed to that new variant. Happening today, White House officials say President Biden will announce the U.S. will release $4 billion for international vaccination efforts during today's Group of 7 meeting. The meeting will be President Biden's first big moment on the global stage since taking office. The money will be used to help poor nations purchase and administer COVID-19 vaccines. Former President Trump had declined to participate in that humanitarian effort. A fight between institutional investors and amateur traders over the video game retailer GameStop last month has spilled over into Congress now. Yesterday's hearing involving CEOs and other key players centering around the trading frenzy involving GameStop and is now leading to bigger questions. Are the U.S. financial markets fundamentally fair to all investors? And should the government get involved or leave it to the free market?
Many Americans feel that the system is stacked against them, and no matter what, Wall Street always wins.
Americans are far more sophisticated, informed, and capable than folks in D.C. give them credit for.
It's not over yet. This is just the first of at least 3 congressional hearings aimed at finding out what went wrong.
Yeah, really weird situation there. Well, 6:48, let's get to Brooks. And we've got some weather headed our way, but we're enjoying this beautiful Friday morning sunrise while we can. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Megan. Very well. Hey, Kirk, happy Friday. Hope everybody is looking forward to a good weekend.
Just before you head out the door.
We're going to start with your weather because it's up and down and up and down, Brooks. We got some snow coming tomorrow.
That's right. We're on the up and up today, the warmest day all week long. Seasonally warm, 45 degrees. Maybe warm is too strong a descriptor, but hey, it's going to be nicer than those single-digit highs if you're a fan of not having to bundle up like Kenny on South Park just to go outside and check the mailbox. Light snow tomorrow night, though, and it looks like we're going to see some accumulations, enough to shovel by Sunday morning. The timing and totals coming up in Colorado's most accurate forecast.
Well, things are kind of back to normal along I-25 after, look at this, a truck hit an overpass bridge heading northbound around the Sky Ridge Medical Center exit. Crews spent hours yesterday morning making emergency repairs, and this is Sky Fox hovering over that scene yesterday. Lanes started to reopen just before 5 yesterday evening. CDOT telling us the bridge is now safe to travel under, but crews will still be working under the bridge. CDOT is warning of 2 lane closures in the area this morning during the rush hour traffic. They are asking everyone to expect delays.
This weekend, 10,000 people will be able to get their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine here in the Coors Field parking lot. This, as health officials say, 60% of Coloradans 70 or older have now gotten the vaccine. The state closing in on its goal of having 70% of that age group vaccinated by the end of the month.
And 40% of Colorado teachers, 2 out of 5, considering quitting the profession altogether. That's according to a survey from the Colorado Education Association. Biggest issues for teachers: an unrealistic workload, potentially unsafe working conditions during the pandemic, and low pay. So we're approaching 7 o'clock. As you guys know, the other big networks in town, they're going to flip the switch to pre-taped news out of New York City. It was recorded 2 hours ago. Doesn't make any sense.
We bring you the news as it happens. We keep it live and local all the way until 10 a.m. We've got 3 more hours to go. Stick with us. The Fox 31 Morning News at 7 o'clock starts right now.
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31.